The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology Podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost Here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm Chris Amsler, and I'm here today with Edward Sturm and Ram Berrouet from World of Ether. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Hey. World of Ether is a decentralized collectible dueling game. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Well, essentially, I don't know if you guys in the past have played games such as Pokemon where you collect monsters. We wanted to bring that to the Ethereum blockchain and add decentralization to it and kind of have the same elements of collecting monsters as well as dueling them with other players and being able to buy and sell those monsters to other players, kind of create a market for them.
Collecting monsters and selling them, what's involved in selling them? Tell us about the transaction with that.
Sure. Okay. So to gain a monster, you either purchase a monster from our marketplace or you purchase a monster from other players on our marketplace. So you purchase an egg. The egg can hatch and become anything from like a common monster or legendary, which is a very rare monster. They come in different rarities, and they also come in different types. So there's sun types, there is life types, there's ocean types, death types, and astral types. And once you've hatched the monster, you can breed them with another monster and create children. And at any time, you can sell those monsters on our marketplace and list them, and other players can buy them with Ethereum.
Okay. And the ultimate goal here is to duel your monsters, correct?
Right. So dueling allows you to increase your level. If when you win fights, you receive experience points, which increase your level. And the higher level you are, the higher probabilities of hatching rarer monsters. So basically, it's like your breeding level. So the incentive is that players would get more powerful monsters to win battles more often, which would increase their probability of gaining rare monsters.
Okay. With earlier you mentioned the decentralizing aspect of it. What's the advantage of that? What's kind of the major difference between something like Pokemon and World of Ether with the decentralization part of it?
Sure. I'd like to bring a comparison kind of to other massively multiplayer online games and show us where we kind of came to the decision to create this game. Most of these games that are played online are they're centralized. Obviously, they're built by a particular company, and the game lives on that company's servers for the most part. And that company has full control over how often items appear in the game, such as World of Warcraft. They control drop rates. They control the actual individual percentages of what's rare, what isn't rare. And the game creators also have the ability to generate items at will. So one of the predecessors, one of the early blockchain games, which came out a few months ago, CryptoKitties, as an example, they, while they let people collect kittens, they basically still have full control over releasing kittens at any moment and can stop releasing them, and they kind of have control over the full market. We wanted to create a game in which only the players can create new monsters and maintain the value of those monsters. We didn't want ourselves as creators to have control and be able to flood the market with monsters or dictate the price of these monsters. So the only way to do it was to create decentralized contracts that would allow the players to have full control over actually producing and breeding monsters. And that was kind of the lane we chose.
So that organic part actually creates a real world. It's not a world, as you mentioned earlier, dictated by, whatever company it is. Is that what you're aiming for?
Yeah. Aside from the names and descriptions of the monsters, which we have control over, the system dictates, the contracts dictate probabilities of hatch probabilities. It also is built in, has a function that will create a brand new monster. There's a very small chance that your breed will create a brand new monster in which the system will randomly generate statistics for and rarity for. So, and then from that point on, players can discover that newly discovered monster as part of the set of monsters in the game. So even introducing new monsters is completely decentralized. We don't have the power to introduce a brand new powerful monster that may sway the balance of the game or anything of that nature. It's completely decentralized. So yeah, basic idea where the world the monsters build itself and come out. And we may even include the ability to generate a brand new type in the future and then add that as a contract by the time we launch. We're still debating over the next few weeks.
So speaking of the launch, what's the stage of your development right now? Beta, and when's the full release?
Right now we're trying to build out our alpha. We're planning to release within the next 6 to 7 weeks the actual full game. But we've pretty much completed, I'd say, 90% of the contracts needed to build this game out. We're focusing on building out like the front end and the application side of how everything will look like. So I'd say, we're about 6 to 7 weeks out from launch and just tying everything together. Now,
your world of Ethereum, obviously, it's based on the Ether. Tell us about the decision to go with that particular blockchain. What gave that advantages over others?
Sure. Obviously there's a ton of competing blockchains at this point, but we've been working with Ethereum for, let's say, almost 9 to 10 months already, just building smart contracts out and being really familiar with Solidity. So we figured this is a natural fit. It also has like a pretty big developer community compared to the other blockchains, so it's a lot easier to get examples and code that's actually been audited and contracts that have been audited that we can kind of use and build off of. So it was kind of a natural decision for us, and just in general, it's the most widespread blockchain, I believe, for when it comes to developing smart contracts and actual applications. So it's pretty easy choice for us.
What are some of the applications of those smart contracts you've built with functionality or relation to the gameplay?
Just to clarify, you're asking what have we built in the past or what have we built so far?
What have you built so far?
So we built our pre-sale contract, which we released our pre-sale of the game. So we started selling eggs 2 weeks ago. So we built that contract out. We've also built out the contract for the monster drop rates when hatching an egg. We've built out the contracts for dictating breeding in terms of when you mate a common with a common, what are the probabilities of obtaining an uncommon or a rare monster, so forth. So we built the breeding contracts. We have a rough draft of our battling contract, which will dictate how moves are generated on during battles, the actual how a winner is determined, etc. So we've just started building that contract out.
What are those opening stages like in the battling contract?
Well, we can't give too much away. The only thing we can say is, we're trying to make it so that it's challenging, but it's also, gives a real big advantage to people who have higher battle point monsters. So to give advantage to strong players with stronger monsters while still keeping the game competitive and still giving you excitement in terms of not really knowing if you're going to win the battle or not. So that's basically what we've been trying to accomplish with the battle contract. But it's loosely based off of the battle points of the monster you're currently holding when battling, and it will be 1 versus 1 for now, where it's one monster versus another player's monster.
What's your favorite monster, or maybe top 3 favorite monsters in your group right now?
Well, the funny thing is we haven't released any names of any monsters or any drawings as we want. We want players to be the first to discover them. So the way we built it out is So the way we built it out is the first person to discover or hatch a monster gets his username as credited as the person who discovered that monster. And the first discovered monster, you get a gold version of that monster. So that's going to be interesting. So we can't really reveal, but our favorites are the legendary monsters, as there are very few of them available. So they're going to have high stats, and like as drawing wise, they look extremely interesting compared to the other monsters. So I'm pretty sure the legendaries will be most people's favorites as well.
Legendary and gold, those are like the ultimate combination there. So how do you see this developing over the next year or so after the release?
After the release, we anticipate eventually people will introduce new monsters just through probability of creating a new species. I also see this going further in terms of possible other games on top of that are related to the World of Ether world, which we're looking into, and we're just going to continue building out the application side to make it look more interesting and have more interesting features without taking away from the actual balance of the gameplay and collectability that we have. So that's pretty much our roadmap.
The other games that you're looking at would those tie in similarly? Like I know in Clash of Clans and those things, they introduce those mini games inside it. Or is that what you're talking about, or standalone games, or?
Possibly both. Mainly just we feel like the World of Ether could be a bigger concept. I mean, the monsters and the planet and the story we have coming for you guys as well will detail. There's so much more we can do, and similar to other games where they have like other possible spin-offs that are related to that world, we're definitely looking into it. Possibly outside of just collectibles and even further than that.
Okay.
Especially as the Ethereum blockchain develops and there's more the transactional rate goes up, we can kind of look into building more and more detailed games.
For a Pokemon player, what's the main draw to this game versus that one?
Unlike Pokemon, I guess, like monetary value is not really associated with Pokemon, because I don't think they really have a marketplace for trading them, as the game generates them as infinitely as you play the game. With ours, the draw will be kind of you're collecting, but now the world gives the monsters a real world value as opposed to just collecting them for the sake of having every single one. It's going to be more about collecting the rarest, and people will actually covet the monsters that they've been able to breed, and kind of create a more competitive world on that side. And then battles will also have more of a feel, since you're playing against other players, and there will be a leaderboard, and there will be a real sense of progression as you play against other players worldwide. It's kind of what we're trying to accomplish.
With the real world value part of it, how does that break that down for me? How does that translate?
Sure. Well, the marketplace. When you hold a gold rare, and I'm not sure what they'll end up fetching on the marketplace, but you'll be able to see a real world Ethereum value for in the priced in Ether for that monster, as a marketplace is actually set. So actually holding these monsters will have some sort of financial value. Like, we'll actually have a monetary value of holding these monsters. So collections will actually you'll be able to put a value in a currency on your collection, as opposed to Pokemon, where they don't allow you to buy and sell monsters. There's no marketplace, and the monsters don't have value, as you can just create a brand new account and keep fighting and generating monsters out basically infinitely.
Where can people find out more?
Worldofether.com is one way, but we're obviously going to be posting a lot of this stuff on social media. We have our Twitter. Our Telegram chat is extremely active. We have hundreds of people on there already, just like debating strategies prior to game launch and thinking up of things that even we're shocked that we didn't expect. That's a good place to get information. We're actively moderating that chat, so we're always answering questions from people. We're also doing an Instagram live at the end of this week, early next week, which will
on Monday,
which will have our developers answering questions live, and we'll be on Facebook Live, IG Live. We'll be live on Twitter, just taking in anyone's questions.
We have an event here in New York City tonight that has 250 people RSVP'd so far. So if you're in New York, come to one of our events.
How do they find out about that, or find out more about those future events? Through Telegram as well?
Our Telegram, subscribe to our mailing list, Twitter. We advertise it everywhere. Within all of our channels, Instagram, Facebook.
Excellent. I'm excited to see how this starts out. Maybe I'll get in there and get a legendary gold right away. I hope so.
Ram, you didn't talk about the egg pre-sale much.
Yeah, the pre-sale is currently going on. So players can buy eggs right now, and with every egg purchased, the price of the next egg increases by 0.00035 each. So roughly in today's value, like increases about 40 cents per egg purchase. And we built it that way in order to keep the value of the egg high, but also to eventually reach some sort of price cap where it's no longer economical to buy an egg from us. You have to buy monsters from other players in order to join the game.
Okay.
So the sale's still going on, and I recommend anyone who wants to jump in to purchase an egg early, as there are like a number of benefits to purchasing early. One is you'll get to breed first and populate the marketplace with the offspring of your monsters, and I would imagine that could be a monetary benefit, but also you'll have a higher chance of getting one of the gold rares since you'll be amongst the first to hatch. So that's another advantage, as well as the eggs from pre-sale have a slightly higher probability for dropping rarer monsters. So. And
the pre-sale is now until release?
Yeah, until release. The eggs will continue to be sold post-release, but there will be a 15% increase from the last egg sold before we release the game. So the eggs will continue to rise in price until infinity, pretty much, until no one buys an egg anymore and buys the monster. But buying it in the pre-sale will give you pretty much a 15% discount guaranteed on what an egg price will be afterward.
Okay, so get in on that pre-sale now. Yeah. Any more thoughts before we wrap, guys?
No, I mean, we're just looking forward to putting this game out and seeing the reaction, and also looking forward to the space of crypto gaming to grow in general. And I think there's a lot of potential for it, and this is only the start. Like once we start tying in smart contracts to other game types, it's going to be really interesting to just tie cryptocurrency as a reward to games, and also using smart contracts to create a fair and competitive environment for games. So I'm excited.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Edward Sturm and Ram Berrouet, for joining us here with World of Ether. And thanks, listeners, for tuning in.
Thanks for having us.
The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.